I have a question for you. Who is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's closest partner in Europe? If you watch Instagram Reels, I know your answer, but no, it is not Giorgia Meloni. It is Emmanuel Macron, the President of France. Macron and Modi don't have a hashtag, but they have something much more important, a good track record. And next month, we will see a new chapter of this relationship because Macron is coming to India. He will be chief guest at the Republic Day parade, so all the speculation can end. New Delhi had tried to get Joe Biden as chief guest. It was quite the plan. First the Republic Day parade, then a Quad summit with Japan, Australia and the US. That was the plan. Unfortunately, it fell through. So now Macron is coming. Let's get some numbers out of the way first. Macron has visited India twice. First in 2018 for a state visit and then again in September this year for the G20. His trip next month will be his third. Is he the first French leader to attend the Republic Day parade? No, he's the fifth. Jacques Chirac was chief guest in 1976 and 1998. Valéry Giscard d'Estaing in 1980. Nicolas Sarkozy in 2008. And François Hollande in 2016 tells a story, doesn't it? Macron's visit is sort of like a reciprocal trip. Prime Minister Modi had travelled to France in July this year. He was the guest of honour on Bastille Day. Think of it as their Republic Day. Back then, an Indian contingent marched in the parade. Indian pilots also flew Rafales over Paris. And that's a key part of India-France ties, defence cooperation. India's top military seller still remains Russia, but France is now second. Around 29% of India's arms imports come from France. To give you some context, the US is a distant third at 11%. France is at 29%. Some new deals are also in the pipeline. This year, India released a bid for more Rafale jets, around 26 of them. The deal is worth around $6 billion. And this week, France responded to the bid. Their officials have flown down from Paris. It's now about negotiating, seeing if the price, specifications and requirements match. If they do, a deal could be signed in the coming months. Now, India already uses the Rafale, but that's the Air Force. This new deal is for the Indian Navy. Reports say the jets will be deployed on India's aircraft carriers. And if true, they will replace Russian-made MiGs. Another deal is for submarines. India is already making 6 Scorpene-class subs with France. There is talk of making 3 more. Reports say a deal could be signed later in 2024. As for the delivery, it's going to take time, maybe 2031. So defense remains the cornerstone of India-France relations. But it's not a seller-buyer thing. It's a genuine partnership, one with history as well. Independent India's first major defense deal was in 1949. It was with France, 1949. In 1982, they gave India nuclear fuel. The Americans refused, so Paris stepped up. In 1998, France did not sanction India after the nuclear tests. In fact, their president was chief guest on Republic Day. So what's the secret here? Well, the leaders deserve a lot of credit, including Prime Minister Modi and President Macron. They have excellent chemistry. You can see that from the pictures and videos. There's a level of comfort with each other. It's also because of shared strategic goals. We can think of 3. Number 1, the vision of a multipolar world. Yes, France is part of the Western Bloc, but Macron is not tied to such rigidities. He wants Europe to become a pillar of geopolitics, not just a US sidekick. India, too, has openly called for a multipolar world. So that's one point of convergence. Point number 2, the Indo-Pacific. France has physical presence in the Indian Ocean, an island called Reunion. It's home to the French military. It's what makes Paris an Indian Ocean power. And number 3, a habit of non-interference. Paris never lectured India on buying Russian oil, or for not criticizing Russia's war. Just look at what happened in 2019 after India revoked Kashmir's autonomy. Macron did not criticize. He also said third-party mediation is not required and India appreciates such understanding, especially from a European power. Of course, New Delhi has repaid that faith. In July this year, before Modi's visit, Paris was a mess. An Arab boy had been shot dead by the cops, so thousands of people were protesting on the streets. Shops were vandalized, vehicles were torched, but Prime Minister Modi did not reschedule his trip. The government says it wasn't even on the table for discussion. It tells you about the level of trust. In simple words, France and India can count on each other. Like after the AUKUS snub, France was left high and dry by its Western partners. So who did Macron reach out to? Prime Minister Modi. Expect more of that chemistry next month. It may not be the most flamboyant or talked about relationship, but India and France tick the important boxes: predictability, reliability, and stability.